If you want to roast coffee at home and you perhaps graduated from simple popcorn popper or a pan, one of the most affordable home coffee roasters on the market is Behmor 2000AB. In this video I ask Alan, who is much better suited for this review, to give this home roaster a proper test. He will take you through a roasting session with Behmor 2000AB. He will share his first impressions, but also steps that took him to nail the desired roast level. If you use Behmor to roast coffee yourself, please share your experience and advice down in the comments. This video is sponsored by Artisan Green Bean.
If we put aside the whole incredible do-it-yourself popcorn maker roasting culture, the options for home roasters are very limited if they want to get something affordable. However, there is the Behmor coffee roaster. It is an electric drum roaster with 400 grams capacity, and it was introduced to the market back in 2007 and has been upgraded a few times since then. The first model already came out with an impressive afterburner, and you can of course find it in the latest 2000AB model. Personally, I saw the Behmor roaster for the first time 13 years ago in Čajovna Jantar. It was my friend's coffee shop and tea room in a small Moravian town, Břeclav, here in Czech Republic. Back then I wasn't working in coffee, but I found it really fascinating because he was roasting a few hundred grams batches a few times a week, and both the espresso and filter coffee tasted amazing. So now, 13 years later, I'm gonna have a fresh look on this machine.
Before we get into roasting, let's talk briefly about the sponsor of this video, Artisan Green Bean. When starting to roast coffee, either at home as a hobby or commercially as a micro roastery, perhaps the most challenging part is source high quality green beans that you can buy in small batches. If you live in Europe, it's almost impossible, and that is what guys at Artisan Green Bean decided to change. They built the logistics and partnerships through warehouses in Romania, Germany and Netherlands that can supply any coffee roaster with as little as 5 kilo boxes of green beans. If you want to give it a try, visit artisangreenbean.com and ask for price list. Now let's roast that Ethiopian coffee we got from Artisan.
So let's actually roast some coffee. First of all, we need to preheat the machine. Open the door and take out the chaff collector and the drum, which is fixed. Not very easy to put it out. Select the dose, random program, 90 seconds. Now we need to weigh our green coffee. Today's sponsor of the video is Artisan Green Coffee Beans from Romania. We got their samples and the roasting machine. And this is washed Ethiopia Kayon Mountain. So open the metal mesh drum, put the beans inside. That is 90 seconds. So we are preheated. Lock the drum, open the roaster. Now we need to be very careful. I would recommend wearing gloves for this. Okay, this is the way. Use two hands. Now the chaff collector. And lock. The control panel. We have plenty of options here. We can either use 100, 200 or 400 grams, which is maximum. We will use 100 grams and it will give you immediately a preset time for that amount of coffee. It's 8 minutes 30 seconds. You can adjust that time during the roast. During the 50% of the roast, you can adjust the timer up or down by 15 seconds, which is very useful. There are 5 profiles for this machine. The first one goes, for very hard beans. I imagine high altitude Colombian coffees and Guatemalan coffees, high altitude Ethiopian coffees probably, and it's the shortest roast. If you select number 2, this is for recommended by the manufacturer for softer beans from lower altitude. Same is for P3, number 4, and number 5 should be not the longest roast, but the energy is not that steep. So let's go with profile number 3. So let's just hit the start. Immediately the drum starts to rotate, and through this nice window you can see very clearly what's going on. Now let's get to the panel because we have some time here. Number A gives you the exhaust temperature. If you push button number B, it will give you the inside temperature of the walls, not the bean temperature. So these numbers doesn't really mean that much. You can create some context in terms of, roasting more batches and then looking into your sheets, then cupping, then going back. And maybe you will get something out of this. But at this point, it's not very useful. And if we press D, that's very interesting. You can speed up the drum, the RPM. With the button number C, I'm not gonna press it yet. You are marking the first crack. So as soon as you hear the first crack, push the C button, and then there is a countdown going on for 90 seconds. After 90 seconds, the roast will automatically stop, and the cooling phase will start. One thing about the Behmor, and I absolutely love that, is very quiet. It's very quiet. Lovely. Now the coffee is in the mid phase, in the Maillard phase. It smells very sweet, looks brown, and I think we could expect a first crack within a short time. Okay, that was it. So we're gonna push the C button, and there is a countdown going on. Actually, I'm not a big fan of the countdown of 90 seconds because I lost the count of the total roast time, which is as important to me. Okay, 10 seconds, and you can hear some popping sounds. All right, let's stop it here. If you hit the cool button, it doesn't really start the cooling, but it stops heating and it cools down very slowly. So there is a chance you're gonna get some baked flavors in your coffee, which you don't really want. And the cooling is really slow. So to speed it up a little bit, let's open the door. It might be a little bit messy, chaff going on, but I think we need to do that to avoid really, really dark coffee. Let's try. We need to cool down the beans after the first crack as soon as possible and as quick as possible. So this should help. Before that I said it's not loud. That's not true anymore. And if I close the door, you can hear me again. So we are still 6 minutes in the cooling phase. But I think we're okay. This is pretty cool already. So let's stop. All right, we're done. Let's remove the chaff collector. Not much of a chaff because everything is here. And remove the drum. This is much more pleasant than inserting the hot machine. So let's weigh what we have here. 89 grams, that's 11% weight loss. Perfect filter roast. Before we do anything more, it's time to clean what we did here. Take a brush. If you do have a vacuum cleaner, use it. It's much better because all the chaff is on the floor now. So we finished. We have in total 4 roasts here. 3 are from yesterday, and the last one is what we did now. One thing is funny here. When you read the instruction manual from Behmor, they will tell you that it takes usually 4 roasts to get there, and it really did. So what happened yesterday? We roasted this one, and we forgot to preheat the machine. It's very light, it's very green, it's very hard, and it's not gonna be brewable. It looks very light. So we did a proper preheating with the second batch of the coffee, and I followed the instructions with 90 seconds development. That sounds reasonable to me, and I ended up with this. I think the third crack officially doesn't exist, but I think this might be close to it. It's very dark, very oily on the surface. When you enter the room, you can smell it. It tastes ashy. No way I'm gonna drink that. So we did a third roast. This is a shorter development time. Instead of 90 seconds, we went for 50 seconds. Same profile, and we ended up with this. It's a kind of espresso roast and further. When you eat the bean, it's very brittle and it tastes very dark. And I think that's not gonna be my cup of coffee. I like lighter roasts, I love filter coffee, so we were aiming for that in the first place. So this was 50 seconds of development and 12 minutes of the cooling phase. So what we did today was the same thing as yesterday. And then we pressed the cool button to cut the roast, and after 2 minutes we opened the door just to let it cool much more quickly. And it helped, apparently. It's not that dark, it looks light roasted to me as a kind of filter roast I really enjoy. And it's washed Ethiopia, so we're gonna see how it brews. We're not gonna be comparing those as brewed coffee or cupping. We don't really want to compare those roasts. These are just bad, and this is obviously underdeveloped, really light. But this is interesting. Let's brew that. So we brewed the coffee, we roasted like 20 minutes ago. I know, it's too fresh, but still, it will tell us something about the green quality of the coffee, about the roast, and hopefully we can pick up something interesting in terms of delicacy, flavor, and how well was it brewed. Straight away you can tell this is a high quality green coffee, very well sourced. It tastes like a high altitude washed Ethiopia, which it is. Lots of florality going on, some citric notes, nice sweetness, and very delicate tea-like. It's lovely. And of course it will improve over the next few days and weeks. Maybe for next time I would add 5 to 10 more second development on the Behmor, just to pull out more sweetness out of this coffee. But overall I'm very happy with the result. It's lovely. We roasted several 100 grams batches on the Behmor, and after a few bummers the coffee turned out to be really pleasant. Evenly roasted, juicy, complex. You know, just like good specialty coffee. With a few tips and tricks here and there, users will definitely get good results out of this machine. Also, you can find a large community online where people exchange their experience with the Behmor. But is this machine good for you? If I was a home roaster, I would be definitely looking for some budget options under 500 euros, and since there are not any, or at least I'm not aware of them, Behmor would be my choice. I can picture this roaster on the kitchen shelf at home, or even in a small coffee shop if you want to roast a limited selection of green coffee for your customers. Behmor might also be a great choice if you're looking for something cheaper for sample roasting. In my opinion, it will definitely deliver. It is easy to clean and it's very quiet, which is a good thing. There are some downsides along the way though. The design might not be the best you've ever seen. Locking the drum inside the hot roaster is very uncomfortable. But that can be fixed by wearing the gloves. But more importantly, you will have very limited options when it comes to roasting. You can roast anything up to 400 grams, which is sufficient, but the 5 preset programs won't allow you to do much in terms of profiling and heat regulation. The cooling takes a bit long, so you might grab a book or make yourself a filter coffee before it's done.
I hope that this video got you excited about roasting coffee at home. It's not that difficult if you pick the right tools and source of green coffee. If you roast coffee at home already, let us know in the comment section below. Now, if you want to see a lower and higher cost alternatives, we made a video about roasting coffee in the popcorn popper, as well as in an eCava Pro. Check them out and see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.